Hey horror fans, welcome back to Room 237 and yet another Blumhouse film. And this one I have some really mixed feelings on. This could be an interesting review, but this is a movie that got a lot of buzz and hype and good notices at some film festivals. I didn't know a thing about this. I went into it completely blind, didn't watch a trailer, barely read anything about it. Kind of knew the general concept, but not really. As soon as I started it, I was expecting to hate the fuck out of it. 2018's Cam, starring Madeline Brewer, and directed by Daniel Goldhaber. Now, this was the first film directed by Goldhaber. It was based on a story by Goldhaber, Isa Matsai, and Isabel Link Levy. And it is sort of based, partially, loosely drawn from Matsai's personal experiences as a internet cam girl. And it's a psychological horror film. I know some people are like, it's a thriller because nothing happens. No, it's a psychological horror film. Almost the very definition of a psychological horror film. On a budget of $1 million, it was very well made. And it was made through Blumhouse and distributed for Netflix. It's a Netflix original film. Now, yes, I expected to hate this because the whole world and profession of cam girl is nothing I've ever really had a lot of respect for. Yes, there's a lot of time and effort to gain followers. Of course, I respect that. But in general, not for me. I've never checked out one of those sites, never cared to. I don't even know anyone that does that. But what this movie does well is it takes us into a world like that we're not really familiar with. It really does a good job at showing us the life and potential dangers of being a cam girl. So even if you've never even heard of what a cam girl is, you can almost get a good idea just from watching this. So it was, I don't want to say atmospherical, but I guess world building it did a good job with. It was well acted. It took me a while to look at Madeline Brewer and not think of Anna Faris. I know she's on Orange is the New Black, which is a show I've never watched. But she really did remind me of Anna Faris for the first two Scary Movies. And there was a lot I liked about this film. And it is one of those movies, it is a sweater thread film where when you just pull one thread of the story, it all falls apart. Which I said in my review for The Lodge, but this has a lot more to pick at. So I went from going into this expecting to hate the living shit out of it within 5 minutes, and then getting increasingly more invested and really enjoying it, and then thinking about it afterwards and thinking, I do have some problems with it. But the way it plays out is enjoyable, and is also a bit of a character study because of how we follow this girl on her journey. So, Madeline Brewer plays this girl named Alice, who is a cam girl. Her online persona is Lola. And for those that don't know, I guess cam girls, they do these live chats and, scantily clad, and then they're paid through tokens. Their viewers donate tokens, which I guess transfers into some sort of amount of currency into her account. It's her job. The more tokens she gets, the more she will do, and the more tokens she gets by the end of the show, the higher her ranking will be as far as all the cam girls on the website. And she is striving to get to the top 10. She's in like 56th place or whatever in the start of the film. And right off the bat, she's doing this show. Everyone's telling her what to do. And then this one guy says, like, you know, she's talking about what dildo is she going to use. And it says, use a knife. Of course, she's weirded out. Everyone else is. She blocks him, but he keeps coming back. Keeps taunting her. Then more people keep telling her to use a knife on herself. She slits her throat. Nice blood effects. And then we just see on her screen just fucking tokens. It was a hoax. But now, while watching it, I was expecting, okay, it's going to be one of those movies where there's like a stalker going after cam girls, or, okay, we're going to go back in time and work our way up. Or it's going to be like an unfriended type of thing where there's some sort of being in the chat room telling people to do this and it's haunting her. Not that at all. That sounds like a typical Blumhouse idea, and it did not go that route. I was wrong. That gets her to like 53rd, and you know, eventually she does reach, or wait, I'm sorry. She was like 63rd or whatever, and eventually she breaks the top 50. That's after the throat slitting. You find out there's this guy from her chat who works out hoaxes with her, like he was the one telling her to use the knife. They work this stuff out. Because the more extreme your content, the more people want to see, the higher you get. And then eventually, you know, it does show a little bit of competition, because once she breaks the top 50, or there's this other girl that she's watching who's saying she'll get nude if people bump her back like 10 spaces. So there's the competition. And then she does one of those shows, I think it's called Sybian, whatever the fuck it's called, where you sit on this vibrating thing, or whatever it is. And you can tell she's not enjoying it. It kind of has like the ending of Requiem for a Dream kind of feel, but she's desperate for views and rankings. And from there, she logs on again and she can't get into her account. And it seems as if there is someone else using her account and stealing her identity. That's the setup for the film. Now, I don't want to spoil this because I do think this is a good movie. There is plot holes. There's plenty of plot holes. Don't let it ruin it for you. There's a lot going for it. It is a methodical build-up. It does start at the perfectly smallest place and just build up. You know, it starts off with her not being able to sign into her account. She calls tech service. They can't help, and it just goes on from there. There is some supernatural elements. Turns out to be not quite so. It could be. But the supernatural elements really take a backseat to this story, which I fully appreciated. It's more so about what she's going through. The toll it's taking on her psychologically and physically, about trying to figure out what's going on, how can she get it back, knowing there's someone else out there, essentially a doppelganger, even doing things more extreme than she was doing, essentially stealing her body. And everything like that. This is going to sound weird, but this is one of the most relatable horror films I've seen in a while. I'm not a cam girl, trust me, I'd tell you, but, you know, starting an account on something where you gain followers, you have, even if you're yourself, you kind of have a persona or a style. You make your own content. people get to know you, you get to know your followers, and then all of a sudden, it's hijacked. You can't get in. You lose all your work. That is terrifying. In fact, one of my favorite reviewers recently, actually, Ghostbait1, tons of subscribers. He got his account hijacked and can't get his videos back. Now he goes by the Maniac, and he's, he had some help, but he's getting his channel back. But that's still a scary thing. And the higher up you get, the more of a target you'll become for hijackers and hackers and whatnot. So that's terrifying. And sort of relatable for YouTube creators in a way. Also, as I said before, I did not think I was going to give two shits about this girl one bit. I thought I was going to wait for her to die like Paris Hilton in House of Wax. I found myself sympathizing with her, hoping the best works out, that she figures this out. So, that's the effect of a well-written, well-structured film. Yes, again, plot holes in the story. Last thing I'll say before I get into spoilers is the score. This is the best score of its kind since It Follows. It's got a bunch of different styles. Some of it is very subtle and Carpenter-esque. Some of it is just this intense kind of beat to, as things are getting more intense. Sometimes it's just this like alarming sort of guitar chord sound, like this just like the sound of violation. Excellent score that just completely strengthens the movie right up and just makes the scenes work to their fullest potential. It's on Netflix. I do recommend it. Again, yes, there will be plot holes. Yes, it does get confusing. There was a scene that was cut that would have helped the story a lot more, to my understanding. This was written loosely based by someone who was a cam girl and had to deal with videos being stolen or plagiarized or whatnot. And just, the frustration that goes with that. So despite its cons with plot holes and being confusing, it does have a lot going for it as well, and I do recommend it. But with that, I'm going into spoilers. The rest of the film is kind of confusing because at first she thinks, okay, for whatever reason, the site is replaying old shows. But the show is live, and the doppelganger is communicating with her through the text. So it is live. No one else really knows what she's talking about or how to help her. She hides this from her mom, but it comes to light at her brother's birthday. And of course she can't say, that's not me, that's someone else, because it almost looks like an exact twin, and that is something she's doing, so she'd kind of be lying. Just all these things are working against her. Like, there's this one guy who donates a lot of tokens all the time. She meets up with him, but then when he sees that she's live, he thinks that she's a scammer. So of course she has to get away from him. And it all builds up to, she goes back to the guy who, the hoax guy that was pretending to be the throat slit, wanna see dude. She calls him Tink because his name is Tinker Boy. He says he'll help out. It's awful that you got hacked, you got stolen, whatever. But come to find out, he's just another internet creep who has no intentions to really help her. Supposedly here was a scene that kind of establishes what's been happening. Because one, also I forgot to mention, the girl in the #1 spot died like 4 years ago. Yet she's still making videos. So that's when I thought, okay, is there some sort of organization that these girls get to a certain place, then they kill them off, and then they're somehow able to keep going? And then there's these other girls that seem to, the same thing seems to be happening. And he is the mutual friend of all of them. So he says, okay, I know what's going on, but I don't know what causes it. Essentially, what the cutscene was, what it says, and this is, once I heard this, I was like, okay, that is so relatable as well. They should have left it in there. It's algorithm. What is happening is these girls get so far along that the website creates an algorithm based on what people want to see. It's just there's like this AI program that, with all the information that's given, all these videos, it can fully like 3D render a replica and stay live almost 24/7. Except for this one time she's going to prove to her mom it's not her because it's live. That's when she wasn't live. So convenience, but... And how the girl that died was able to keep going because of this algorithm that puts things together based on what they've already done and what people want to see. That's why some of these videos sound like it's being taken from other girls' videos or past videos. So it's all an algorithm. And if you think about it, that's also really scary because there's those deep fakes, like Jim Carrey's face on Jack Nicholson in the Shining videos. Because there's so much footage of Jim Carrey and Jack Nicholson that the mold of them together is more believable. So since she made the top 40th, made like 46th place out of hundreds of thousands, there's all this to work with to make that replica perfect. Plot hole with that is there is a part where she's watching it live and it looks like her and the number one girl are in her house doing with the laptop a tour of the home. And she's like, you guys have never seen my house before. So it's like, how did it know how to do that? She's holding up pictures like, here's my brother. It's like, how would it know how to do that? So the plot does kind of contradict itself. It does build in an intense scare because it's like, and here's my bedroom that you guys have never seen, which is where Alice is. But when they go through the door in the video, there's no one there. So basically, the whole doppelganger is a 3D render program. And it takes it away from the user and is able to just keep going to generate likes and followers. Sounds confusing, sounds like a very modern technological horror thriller, which to me, despite its plot holes, that's very fucking clever. If they had found a way to string it all together in a more coherent matter, it would have been such a relevant thing, thriller about likes and to strive to be the number one creator and followers. I mean, it goes for cam girls, YouTube creators, Instagram people, all of that. And so finally she decides, okay, what can she do? She she creates a dummy account and because the doppelganger doesn't recognize her. It doesn't even recognize a person, really. It's just talking sort of based on what you're saying. So she sets up this game of monkey see, monkey do. Live chat, mirrors behind them so they can see each other. And it sounds echoey. You get that sort of a infinite mirror effect in the shot, which I thought was really cool. And they have the audience decide who does it better. Blow kisses, take the bra strap off, say sexy things. And eventually, Alice just smashes her face off her vanity table, and we see blood. But when Lola does it, when she picks her head up, there's nothing there. But then, it sort of registers that Alice has blood on her face, so she gets all warped and glitchy, and then there's blood. So that's when the audience realizes, okay, something's kind of fucked up. She does it again, completely smashes her nose. The computer glitches again and makes it look more like her. And then, the audience deems Alice the winner, she says her prize is to be the password into the account, which she gets, and then she deletes it. And she sort of laughs out of relief. So we think she's going to learn a lesson. But no. Nose is permanently fucked up. She starts a new account with a new look. Presumably under a new identity, because you got to take a selfie with your license for, I guess, legal reasons. And it shows her ranking as like 167th place, and it's the countdown to her first show. Didn't really learn anything, but when her mom asks what if the same thing happens, she says, I'll just keep making accounts. I'll never give up to get to the top. I guess we're supposed to admire that. It just kind of makes her look a little stupid. Couldn't she have just done that before? I know it would have seemed like she's in competition with herself, or she would be deemed the faker or the plagiarist because she would have had less. So that part of the ending sucked. I would have liked it better if it had just ended, or shown her being a motivational speaker for, against hackers and stuff like that. That would have been a more uplifting ending. So yeah, there is plot holes. Like, how does AI know how to replicate things it would have never seen, like her house, the picture of her brother? Where's the pay going? Like, all the tokens and pay and revenue that the account is making through the AI, where's that money going? Is it some sort of organization that just copies girls and then keeps it for themselves and blocks them out? It doesn't really say. Maybe it's left to speculation. I'm not sure. But for the most part, I thought this movie did a good job. One, with character. Again, would have given shit about a cam girl and something bad happening to her, but I ended up empathizing with her. This was very relatable as a YouTube creator, trying to get followers, trying to get likes, being proud of your content, your creative content. So it was very relatable as well. Loved the score, absolutely loved the score. But yeah, the story has its plot holes. The ending wasn't the strongest, and I have heard that the ending is what has turned people off the most from it. Do I think it's a masterpiece? No. I have my problems with it, but I did enjoy it. I thought it was a very good psychological horror film. This character study, building this pre-existing world that most people won't know about, that I didn't know about. It did a good job with that. Well acted, a very methodical and steady build-up of, the descent into figuring out what's happening and what to do. Exactly, not what I thought it was going to be, which would have been, how do we make a Blumhouse movie about a cam girl? It did not go in that direction. As a Blumhouse film, yes, I could say this was a masterpiece. Because, God, we all know how I feel about Blumhouse. In general, no. Couldn't say I loved it, but I can say I really enjoyed it, and I admired it way more than I thought I would. As a Blumhouse film, yes, it's fucking incredible. It's on Netflix. I do recommend it. Get through the first 20 minutes or so, which is just, like a week in the life of this cam girl. Get through that, and then trust. It's slow, but if you like psychological horror films that really show the descent of this character and play with your mind as far as what's going on, then you'll enjoy it. I liked Blumhouse's Cam. I have to admit it. Thank you for watching.